Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time visiting my channel, my name is Felix. I'm a YouTube content creator from Indonesia, and today I'll be reacting to Geography Now Philippines, because in the last video I just want to thank you first. I want to thank you first for your support through the video, because it has earned like 200 plus views as of now. And wow, it is so shocking that like a quote-unquote like a lessonary type of video, you really like it. If you really like those kind of video, just keep those requests coming, spread links, give me the links, and I'll be sure to react to it. And after I react to that, many of you guys have been requesting to me for reacting to this video, Geography Now Philippines. So out of all the videos, I picked this one, and yeah, so without further ado, let's just go check it out on Geography Now Philippines. So let's go, let's check, let's react. Okay.
If you don't know anything about Asia, the Philippines is like the jolliest of them all. They're just happy, fun, jolly people. And
you know what? It's been 3 years. I'm not taking this anymore. I've been pushed around, I've been threatened, I've been thrown in the dungeon, I've been the butt of all the jokes. I'm the Filipino one.
Okay.
This is my time.
Okay.
my time!
Oh man, okay. The Hulk emerged.
Welcome to the Philippines. My turn.
Okay.
Okay, so
To learn geography now!
Hey everyone, I'm Ken, and as you know, I'm half Filipino. Years ago, I was looking for a job and I saw this ad asking for a motion graphics animator on Craigslist. Paul and I literally met up at a Jollibee for my interview. He said I was his top 3 candidates.
In reality, there were only 3 candidates that applied, so technically I didn't lie, but yeah, the other 2 people kind of sucked, so yeah.
Oh, and back then, I
3.
had this weird mustache and Paul's hair was basically this thing.
Ken and I have been talking for a long time, and we agreed Ken definitely has to be in this episode. You've come so far from that Craigslist Jollibee interview, you've earned this.
Thanks. Handa na? Magsimula.
handa na magsimula.
The Philippines is an interesting country because there's sort of a dichotomy between labels. If you ask a Filipino if they consider themselves Asian or Pacific Islanders, you might get contrasting answers.
What do you
Oh,
consider yourself, Ken?
I always thought Pacific Islanders sounded kind of cool, so I usually stuck with that. So first of all,
The Philippines is a tropical archipelago of over 7,000 islands, about 2,000 of which are inhabited, and it is the largest island nation without any land borders or shared island territory with another nation.
the country is located in Southeast Asia, straddling the Philippine Sea in the north, the South China Sea in the west, and the Sulu and Celebes Sea in the south.
wow.
Just a skip away lies the island of Borneo, which is split amongst 3 nations.
Yep.
The closest point only about 22 miles or 40 kilometers away from the nearest island that belongs to the Philippines.
Now, in general, many people will refer to one of the 3 main island cluster regions that people are a part of. There are Luzon in the north, where you can find the capital Manila, and where half of the population lives, Visaya in the center, and Mindanao in the south.
Otherwise, the nation is
Oh,
made
so
up of 17
Visaya
regions,
is
one of
where
which is
Ken of
autonomous.
Bangsamoro
Bangsamoro
lived
Autonomous
or
Region
was
of
born,
Muslim
right?
Mindanao. This
Visaya.
place has a high level of self-rule and autonomy appointed by the government. We'll explain more about this later.
If you want to
Oh.
be absolutely technical, Quezon City, a bit north of Manila, is the largest city in the Philippines. However, the surrounding 16 towns and cities by Manila are called Manila Metro, or the National Capital Region, and they basically act as one unit.
Otherwise, the largest city outside of the NCR are Davao City in Mindanao and Cebu in the Visayas.
Manila has the largest and busiest airport,
the
Ninoy
beach that
Aquino
I saw in the
International
previous
Airport, which is
video.
basically the hub that services the entire NCR. They also have the busiest shipping port at the Port of Manila.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, the second largest airport is Cebu Mactan International,
Cebu, yeah,
and
right,
rounding up for
Cebu.
3rd place is Davao City Francisco Bangoy International.
In terms of land transport, though, the Philippines is well connected amongst the islands. In fact, the longest highway is the Pan-Philippine Highway that stretches about 3,500 kilometers across the country
okay,
and connects
that's
Luzon, Samar,
quite
Lian,
long,
and
that's
Mindanao
long.
with underground tunnels connecting them.
Wow.
Finally, the Philippines has only 2 territorial disputes. The state of Sabah in Malaysia on North Borneo. The territory once had been part of the Sultanate of Sulu, a Muslim state that existed the 15th century to the 20th century, and that's a whole other story.
As for the others dispute, as we mentioned quite a few times already, this whole area known as the Spratly Islands is a complete mess. If you don't know anything about this place, it basically goes like this.
Okay,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. This is the
Okay,
map
okay.
showing what everyone claims in the area. This big one right here is China's. Like, yeah, they just kind of pretty much went for all of it.
This has even led to a few skirmishes between nations that have built patrol stations on the island. And when they spot a ship that gets too close, things can get kind of ugly.
It's kind of like
Okay.
this.
Hey, what are you doing? This is my area.
I'm just doing some fishing and research here, you know?
Why do you have a shovel then? Are you building something? or-
Well, technically there's no land protruding from this reef, so there's no land claim.
So you're just gonna build your own land.
For research.
Anyway, here are some notable spots of interest.
Fort Santiago,
Magellan's Cross,
San Agustin Church,
Sagada Hanging Coffins,
Aguinaldo Shrine,
Cebu's
Wow.
Philippine Taoist Temple,
Shrine of Mama Mary in Tagaytay,
the Lapu-Lapu Shrine,
Luneta Park,
MacArthur Landing Site,
Banawi Rice Terraces.
the Malacanang Palace,
Vigan has many historical and colonial buildings,
the various national museums of history and arts.
tons of
Wow.
amusement parks.
And that's not even including all the natural wonders of the Philippines.
my
They have an
God.
underground river.
The most amazing, beautiful beaches in the universe.
Those that
wanna
look like
go,
lumps
I
of
wanna
chocolate.
go.
And there's an island in a lake, and an island in a lake, and an island.
You should hang out
An island in
Yeah,
like
when
an
you have
island
7,000
like
tropical islands on a
damn,
volcanic
love it, love it, love it, love it,
chances
love it,
are
love it.
things can get pretty crazy landscape-wise. Which brings us to the
Physical
actual
geography.
physical land of the Philippines is the biggest treasure you will find here for sure. Anyway, the Philippines lies on the Ring of Fire and is specifically on the tectonic plate named after them, the Philippine Plate.
And about 95% of the land is made up of the 11 largest islands.
The country was essentially formed through the tectonic activity between the Philippines, Manila, and the Mindanao Trenches, the Mindanao being the second deepest in the world.
This makes the country susceptible to small earthquakes and minor volcanic activity.
About 53 active volcanoes can be found in all of these largest
Wow.
islands, except for Palawan. The most famous and picturesque of these include these three.
See this island here, Camiguin? It actually has more volcanoes than towns on it. 7 versus 5, making it the place with the most number of volcanoes per square
Oh
kilometer
my
in the
god.
world.
In fact,
5
the
versus
tallest peak
1.
in the Philippines is a potentially active volcano, Mount Apo,
Okay,
located
okay,
in the
okay,
south.
stop. I know that like in Indonesia we have Merapi, we have in Papua Jayawijaya we have tons of mountain as well. But if we were talking about 5 versus 1, so are there any people who really live there in the country? Like, man, the active volcano are so many. So what is happening if the earthquake happens and the mountain like erupts and everything and the lava came out, and so is there no people living there, or is there people living there? So like, wow, in this such a small area there's a 5 versus 1. That's just wow.
Mindanao area.
The country has numerous mountain ranges and highlands that dip into the fertile valleys, the largest range being the Cordillera Range in the North Luzon area, hooking into the Sierra Madre Range on the east side, which feeds the longest river of the country, the Cagayan, that flows into the Cagayan Valley.
This valley, along with the central Luzon Valley, are the largest arable croplands and produce nearly all of the rice in the Philippines.
Oh,
Visayas are known for growing the most sugarcane.
Bisaya is from Ken, right? Ken has been
Back
until
in
born
Luzon,
there.
though, you can find the largest lake in the country, Lake Laguna de Bay, which is
Ah,
actually in the
Laguna.
caldera of a dormant volcano.
I know
The lake has a
Laguna.
weird detached island called Talim and is actually
Talim.
drained by the Pasig River that flows through the capital Manila.
And finally, the
Oh.
country is the heart of typhoon territory. They can come at almost any time of the year.
Wow.
The nation will experience on average about 20 of the turbulent storms annually, which
Wow,
often
wow,
flood
wow,
to their
wow,
many
wow.
river systems. But yeah, if anything, Filipinos are the most cyclone-adapted people on Earth. They're used to it. The water has always been kind of their thing. Swimming, sailing, fishing.
Just not exactly quite diving into it.
Otherwise, the Philippines is one of the 17 mega-diverse nations on Earth.
Oh,
They actually
no
have the largest level of
wonder.
marine biodiversity in the world within their waters and the highest rate of animal discovery on the planet, with 16 new mammal species that
Oh.
were discovered in the past decade alone.
They have everything from
The longest snake in the world, the reticulated python.
the largest fish in the world, whale sharks.
Ooh.
7 of the 8 known species of
Clam
giant clam are found in the
species.
Philippines.
The world's smallest hoofed animal, the
Pilandok
Philippine
mouse deer.
And their national bird
Deer
is
and
the
a
largest
mouse.
eagle in the world.
Economically
cute.
speaking, the Philippines is considered a newly industrialized nation. It is transitioning out of becoming an agricultural-based system to a service and manufacturing-based one. They have like 3 of the top 10 largest malls on Earth.
Ooh, just you wait. I'm taking the top spots.
Iron
They're one
Mall.
of the fastest growing economies in Asia, and as the 34th largest economy in the world, their GDP purchasing power parity has surpassed the $2 trillion mark.
Okay,
Basically,
that's
the Philippines
nice.
is definitely becoming a key power player in the world stage. It's like,
We're so rich. Welcome prosperity.
someday. For what it's worth, though,
Someday.
mining, fishing, and agriculture are strong industries as well. They are currently the world's largest nickel and abaca or manila hub producers, and the second largest coconut producer after Indonesia.
Tourism, though,
Alright.
is another important industry, taking up about 8% of their GDP, employing over
Okay,
3
pause. That's what I said about the similarities of Indonesia and then Philippines, right? That guy also said like coconut after Indonesia, so it's really proven that Indonesia like rank high in terms of coconut production, and so is Manila, so is Philippines, and they have similarities in terms of how many mountains they have, the natural thing happenings, and the people, and the GDP, and the cuisine, and the place to visit. Like we are really similar, the ASEAN countries.
million people.
And now, food! Now, in the Philippines, every region has their own specialty and culinary strain.
Yeah, every dish looks like a fairy
like
exploded.
Lots of dishes you can eat
like
kumakain kamay,
Indonesia.
or eat with your hands.
Yeah, pretty
Ooh.
much everything has rice, and then you're gonna get a lot of grease and salt and vinegar and a lot of like, I don't care if that looks like it goes there or not, I'm still gonna eat it anyway. Right, Ken?
Yeah, that's Filipino food.
Yeah.
There's really no official national dish, but three meals that are well known for are adobo, lumpia, and
Oh, lumpia. Wait.
really no official national dish, but three meals that are well known for are adobo.
Adobo? What? I'm missing
Yeah,
it.
There's
It's
really no
really
official
fast.
national dish, but three meals that are well known for are adobo.
Adobo, chicken or pork. Oh, I think we know in Indonesia as well. There's like a chicken or a pork with a ketchup soy sauce, like a soya sauce, like with a brown soya sauce, like a brown pork, like fried or roasted pork or chicken with a brown soy sauce, something like that. I've also eaten this in Indonesia.
Lumpia.
Oh, lumpia. Lumpia is really the same. In Indonesia, we call that lumpia with a fried. What do you call it? With a fried outer like skin, and you can put the inside like a carrot and like any veggies that you want, like carrot and the white thingy where you can like eat it like crunchy, like something like that. Like basically that's a lumpia. Sinigang. What's a sinigang? It's like a fish soup. There's like a fish meat or something. Sinigang.
And sinigang.
And in the non-Muslim parts, lechon is a huge deal.
There are also dishes like
Lechon.
Tagalog steak,
Oh.
tinola,
pansit luglug,
kare-kare,
sisig,
Kare-kare is curry.
balut.
Right?
kinilaw.
But
And my favorite Filipino dish, palabok. Just put some nice little lemon juice on it. I actually got this at Jollibee. If you don't know what Jollibee is, it's like the most popular fast food chain in the Philippines. It's like if McDonald's and KFC adopted a Filipino baby, and they even added spaghetti to their menu for some reason.
Otherwise, Filipinos are dessert experts. They love their ube everything, ube ice
Ube.
cream, ube bread, ube pie, ube cakes.
Oh, they
Ooh.
also have like sapin, and cassava cakes. Those are the best.
Sapin
desserts in my
sapin is
opinion.
like
They also have
like
halo-halo, leche flan, turon, buko, pandan,
Oh,
and
pandan.
puto.
We
What you
know
call me?
from
If you're either
Indonesia
Latin
also.
American or Spanish, you may notice some of those foods are also found in Latin cuisine. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, we'll explain that in. Now, only in the Philippines
Demographics.
can you find people that have Spanish names, speak English, celebrate an Austronesian culture, and cook Chinese.
General MacArthur
Yep.
once said, "Give me 1,000 Filipino soldiers and I will conquer the world."
Yeah, for some reason, Filipinos are like the best friends of Asia. Filipinos still have the best attitudes and smiles. They even give time off felony sentences if the prisoners volunteer to take part in a Michael Jackson dance performance to the public.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. First, the graph. The country has about 110 million people and is the 8th most populated country in Asia and the 12th most populated country in the world.
There are about 175 ethno-linguistic people groups in the Philippines, the majority of whose languages are Austronesian.
Of
Austronesian.
these groups, the largest ones are the Tagalog at about 28%, 13% are Cebuano, 9% are Ilocano, and 8% are Bisaya. The rest are made up of other groups plus a small minority of non-native citizens.
Oh, that's
mostly
why
Asians
Ken
and
is from
Americans.
It's important to
Bisaya.
note, though, that the Philippines has about 10.2 million people overseas worldwide. It is one of the
Oh.
largest diaspora populations. spanning
That's
over
why
100
people from the
countries.
Philippines
US alone has
are
about
also
4 million.
expert
I
in
mean,
speaking
they were
English.
at one point colonized by the U.S. So
Right,
They use the
English.
Filipino peso as their currency. They use the types A, B, and C plug outlets, and they drive on the right side.
A, B, and C.
Oh, and keep in mind the word Pinoy is synonymous with something that is Filipino. You might see that used a
Pinoy.
lot.
Now back to the ethnic groups.
Like at the
Since there are
games,
over
oh, like
175
we,
of them,
we
would
know
think,
you. You're a
"How do they
Pinoy,
all
like
communicate?"
something like that.
Well, the Philippines has two official languages, English, which makes them the fifth most English-speaking nation on earth, and Filipino, which is the standardized version of Tagalog. The Philippine Tagalog language spoken today is very different from pure Tagalog. It actually has about 14% Spanish, 10% Malay, and 7% English mixed into it with a slew of other borrowed
That's
loanwords.
why
You
there's
can see
an
the influence in
Indonesian-
words
that's
like
why-
pintalador, guapo, zapatos,
Ah,
and pamilya.
zapatos.
Often
Zapatos,
Filipinos will
zapato.
substitute an F with a P,
Or a V with a B.
or a V with a B.
Yeah, same with Koreans actually. Yeah. High five with minimal consonants.
Yay!
Oh, and fun fact, Ken taught me this. In Tagalog, you can actually say an entire conversation just using the syllable ba. For example,
Ba? Ba-ba.
Oh, this is what you have stated to me in the previous video. You said you can set you can set a sentence with just a ba or with la, like la, la 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 la, and then like all the people don't understand what you're talking about.
Ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba.
ba, ba 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 ba.
Ba-ba-ba.
Well, that was fun. Otherwise, in the Visayas and Mindanao area, Cebuano is a common language, as well as the other regional tongues.
Like so
Waray,
basically Filipino can like
They even have
ba
the only
ba
Spanish
ba
based
ba ba ba
creole in Asia,
ba
Chavacano,
ba
located
like
in Zamboanga City.
man,
Now, the Philippines is
that's
unique
quite
in that
dope.
over the past few centuries, they've gone through three periods that shaped their identity.
Pre-colonial,
Before European
colonial,
intervention,
and
the Philippines has had a
post-colonial.
multitude of early civilizations that built kingdoms and dynasties like the Tondo, the Namayan, the Pangasinan, and the Sulu Sultanate.
Many of these
and
kingdoms
I've heard
had their own
Pangasinan.
indigenous writing systems, such as the Babayan, Buhid, Eskayan, and Kulitan.
Ooh.
Genetically, Filipinos are classified as belonging to the broader Austronesian people group. with their closest
Austronesian.
cousins being the Micronesians, like the Mariana Islanders, Guam, and Palau.
Although over the years, many people have mixed, and today it is speculated that somewhere around 1/5 or more of the population may have some kind of Chinese ancestry. After the Spanish came in, they adopted many of the customs, traditions, and cultural traits which have Spanish roots. Their own country is named after Spanish King Philip. The biggest trait, though, would be the fact that they are predominantly Catholic, at about 81% of the population adhering to the faith.
The rest are mostly Protestant, with a small Muslim minority in the South Mindanao area.
The Philippines is the largest Christian nation in Asia, fifth
Oh,
largest
no
Christian
wonder.
nation on earth,
Okay.
and third largest Catholic nation after Brazil and Mexico.
They have so many holidays
Okay.
and festivals devoted to Catholic themes like All Saints Day, Holy Week, and Easter, and of course, the largest one, Christmas.
The Philippines has the longest Christmas season out of anywhere else on earth.
Oh,
Okay, so now we're just gonna rapid fire a list of 12 fun cultural facts for the Philippines.
Filipinos
okay,
have a
that's
ton
gonna
of
be interesting.
superstitions. For example, whistling at night will turn you into a werewolf.
For formal occasions,
Wow.
you may see Filipinos wearing traditional barongs for men
A
and Maria
barong.
Clara or mestiza dresses for women.
There are many other traditional costumes and customs for the other 170 ethnic groups. Too many to cover, but it goes everywhere from feathers, coconut fibers, hairdresses, tribal
Oh,
tattoos,
like
and so
Indonesia,
on.
like
Speaking of which, the
Indonesia also
Philippines
have
dominates
that.
major international beauty pageants with a grand total of 15
Indonesia also
entries
have
at the
that,
Miss
like
Universe,
Miss
International,
World, Miss
Earth
Indonesia, and
competitions.
everything.
Basketball and boxing are the most popular sport by far. They have the oldest basketball league in Asia and
Wow.
the second oldest in the world after the United States. And come on, we all know Pacquiao.
The Philippines is the leading nation to
Pacquiao
train
is from
and export
Philippines.
nurses abroad. It's
Wow.
been said at one point,
I
every
just
Filipino
know
has
that.
their should I just drop everything and become a nurse moment in their life crisis.
That's a fact. I've had those. And the word balikbayan means returner or returning
Balikbayan.
family. It is used when someone comes back from expat work abroad.
You might hear the honorific title
Pol.
of Pol or Popol for elders, and a lot of people often raise the backs of the hands of their elders to their forehead as a sign of respect and say bless.
In the Philippines, you have your name and you have your Pinoy nickname, and they get really weird and creative. Pepsi, Bing Bong, Jelly Boy, Pinky.
Oh, that's why I've ever asked why is the name, the original name is this, while the Pinoy name is like totally different because there and there's somebody answering me there's no connection. Like in Indonesia, my name is Felix and we call it Fel or we call it Lix, something like that for a short name. But for Pinoy or for Filipino people, the original name with the name that the friends usually call or parents usually called is somewhat can be really different from the original name, and that's a natural thing happening in Philippines.
Bum Bum, and
Bum Bum.
Every
Oh.
Filipino on every
Pearl.
island in every region can tell you Filipinos are obsessed with karaoke. The first karaoke machine was
Of
actually
course,
patented
because
by a
Filipino people
Roberto del
can
Rosario,
really
even though some
sing
Japanese
really
invented it,
well.
but he patented it.
Morissette.
obviously that means music is
And
a big
everything.
deal in the Philippines. Besides taking modern cues from American pop, they also have traditional styles. Instruments include things
Oh.
like budyapi, kilitang, gimbal, kubing, and
Gimbal.
dogali.
There's
There are many
gimbal
different
in
styles of
Indonesia
dance,
too.
but the most famous one considered the national dance is tinikling, a dance done
Tinikling.
between two pairs of perpendicular bamboo poles that are clapped together as percussion tools,
I
and the
think
dancers
we
must
ever
weave their
played
feet
too.
in and out
Ooh,
in the
we ever
spaces
play like a
before getting
fire
tripped.
dancing
Now,
in
on a
Indonesia
bit
as
of a
well.
more objective note, we do have to talk about some of the controversies.
The Philippines is beautiful, but if you've been keeping up with current events, they do have their fair share of issues that have made headlines. We don't sugarcoat everything.
Human trafficking, whether in the sex
Oh.
industry, slavery, or organ smuggling, has been a problem in certain areas. And even though anti-trafficking acts have been passed by the government, enforcement has not always been on par.
The drug trade has also been a major inconvenience for decades, affecting millions of people in the country. This has led to the new controversial laws instituted by
Okay.
President Duarte, which encouraged the public to
Okay,
sit
the
down
president's
in
name
exchange
is
for hunting down
Duarte?
drug pushers. Many have died in the process.
And finally, you have the Moro conflict, an
Moro
insurgency in the
conflict.
predominantly
Oh.
Muslim Mindanao region, which sought to take parts of eastern
oh.
Malaysia and break away through conflict. The fight has been going on for nearly half a century, and now it's just ending
Okay.
at the turn of the 21st century.
Kind of.
For what it's worth, though, in the Philippines, everyone is family at the end. You don't have to be related to anyone.
That's
Call someone
nice.
ate
That's
or
nice.
kuya. There's even a word, bayanihan.
Ate and
At
kuya.
the
Okay,
end. You don't
kuya
have
is
to be
brother,
related to
ate is
anyone to
sister.
call someone
Ate.
ate or kuya. There's even a word,
Ate.
bayanihan, which means something like helping one another through
Oh,
community spirit
kuya is
without
kuya
expecting
is brother,
anything
so
in return.
ate is
In any
sister.
case, we gotta finish
So
off
like,
this segment with
Maraming
history,
salamat ate,
Austronesian,
something like that.
tribal kingdoms, and
Austronesian.
This guy came to the island.
Magellan.
Catholicism comes
Magellan.
in.
Lapu-Lapu and Magellan dies in battle.
5 Spanish dudes followed through.
They finally become a colony of Spain.
The galleon trade.
British Philippines.
And then back to Spain.
Wow,
The Treaty of Paris.
this
Philippine
is so
Revolution,
full
the
of
Spanish-American
education,
War,
full of
First
new
Philippine
lesson for me,
Republic,
man.
Philippine-American War.
American occupation.
World War II, Japan invades.
Ah,
American pushes
yeah,
them back.
Indonesia
Finally,
also have
Philippine
that.
independence.
Ferdinand Marcos
Oh,
turned
so
from president
Indonesia
to
and
dictator.
Philippines
Martial
also
law.
only
This
have
guy
a
gets
1
killed
year
because he
gap
was against the
different
regime.
for the
Power
independence.
Revolution in 1986.
Growth from agricultural society to an industrial.
Oh my god, okay, there's a revolution in 1996, while Indonesia have a revolution in 1998. Wow, different independent 1 year, different revolution 2 years. Wow, we are really a similar brotherlyhood country, man. Like
And here we
Indonesia,
are
like
today.
Indonesia
and now
is
we
a
finish
kuya
off
for
with the notable
Philippines.
famous people condensed. Some famous people, you guys, the Pinoy geography suggested we mention in this episode include
Oh my god,
Jose
the
Rizal,
rat.
these two saints,
Melchora Aquino,
Manuel L. Quezon,
Lacan Dula, Josefa Yanes Escoda, and Vicente Lim.
Carlos Peña Romulo.
And all the Miss Universe winners.
Wow.
And there's a ton of Americans with
Bruno
Filipino or
Mars?
partial Filipino.
What? Bruno Mars is a Filipino? I just know. Dave Bautista is a Filipino. Oh, I don't know. I don't know the other ones, but I know about Bruno Mars, of course, and Dave Bautista. Wow. Okay.
Descent.
Yeah, you can see there's lots of American Filipinos. Those two get along pretty
Wow.
We'll explain more
Bruno
on how that
Mars.
happened
Bruno
in-
Mars. Bruno Mars have a
Because of the long history in the
Filipino
Philippines being colonized by two
friend
major
zone.
Western powerhouses, it would make sense that it would
US
have
and
ties to
Spain.
the outside world in many different ways.
For friends, the Philippines is generally close with all the ASEAN nations and does great business with them, particularly Indonesia and Malaysia, the closest neighbors.
The Marshall Islands, Palau, and the federal states of Micronesia are all cousin countries, many of which have Filipino
we're
migrants
cousins,
in them,
guys,
and they all
remember.
share the same history of being former U.S. territories and
Yep,
U.S.
yep,
influenced
yep,
states.
yep,
Of course,
yep.
Spain will always be in the back of their minds as the former colonizer.
For
that they gained
Indonesia,
much
we have
influence from. Although
Portuguese,
Filipinos are
or
not
we have
considered
like the
Latinos,
Dutch, we
Spanish
have
and many Latin
Japan.
Americans kind of see them
And
as like the adopted
and
Asians that
Indonesian
totally fit in
independence
their
actually
family.
is
It's like,
being
come
helped
on,
by
you're
US
Catholic,
also.
you eat flan, every fifth word you speak is Spanish, you're basically one of us.
Interestingly
Okay,
enough,
okay,
the relationship
nice.
with Mexico has historically been always strong. The Philippines was ruled under a Mexico-based viceroyalty of New Spain. The Manila galleons were Spanish trading ships, which for 2.5 centuries linked the Philippines with Mexico across the Pacific Ocean, making 1 or 2 round-trip voyages per year between the ports of Acapulco and Manila.
Oh.
And Mexican traditions were brought in, like the Day of the Dead and Champurrado.
When it comes to their best friends,
Ooh.
however, most Filipinos would probably say, even though colonial years were a little bit bumpy, ultimately the USA and South Korea.
South Korea was one of their closest best friends from the 20th century on. World War II really bonded with them after the Japanese occupation years, and they
Yep.
supported each other
Yep.
diplomatically.
Koreans are the top
This
number one tourist
also
demographic that
helped
visit the Philippines.
Indonesia to
Koreans kinda
receive
admire the fact
its
that Even though they were both
independence
influenced by the
from
US,
Japan
Filipinos
at
speak
that
better
time.
English, whereas Filipinos practically obsess over Korean products and media.
Ah, us.
That's why we're...
Yes, yes, yes.
For the USA,
Even
ties were close
Korean
ever since
are
they became
infecting
their colony
Indonesia
in
now. Like
1898. The US
I'm
also had the
listening
largest
to
number of
BTS.
overseas
I know about
Filipinos
Korean
at over 4
artists and
million, most
everything.
of whom live on the West Coast states like Hawaii and California. They are one of the oldest Asian partners of the US. They have a mutual defense treaty, and they are the
Oh.
largest export partner and second largest import after China.
Damn.
American
Okay,
pop
okay,
culture
nice.
dominates much of the youth influence. Hollywood studios love filming there, and Gallup polls have shown that the USA is favored on average by over 90% of the people
Oh.
asked, making it one of the most pro-American countries on the planet.
Oh my
and
God.
Ken, you take the conclusion.
In conclusion, if you enter a room full of Asians, you definitely know who the Filipinos are. While everyone's so uptight, we're the ones singing karaoke and somersaulting. You could just feel the energy of a Filipino. There's a touch of
Okay.
Latin flavor with American pop undertones.
And there's a
but in the end, no
Spanish
matter what
also.
island, you're immediately considered part of the Pinoy family.
Ken, you're one of my best friends. I love you, man.
Pinoy family.
Thanks.
Pinoy
Stay tuned.
family.
Poland is coming up next.
Oh, okay. Stop it here. Okay, wow. If I were to receive a lesson like this in my school, it'll be awesome, totally awesome. Like YouTube now is a source of learning, and this is a fun way to learn. I learned lots of things about Philippines, the cuisine, the place, the historical background, Spanish, 1 million, 2 million, and there's the Bisaya, there's the Tagalog, there's the Filipino, there's this island, that island, and there's a museum, there's the majority hold is the Protestant and the Catholics. So basically, wow, I learned so much from the Philippines. That is why you guys also have like Sabato and like Kuya, and the thing I remember is Kuya and Ate. Like, okay, Ate is sister, Kuya is a brother. Like, okay, and the honorifics is Po or Oppo or something, and then there's the ba like, and the thing that I'm asking, how can you know what is this guy talking about if like he's just like ba 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 ba, like something like that. That's making me excited and curious at the same time. And wow, out of all the things, the mountains, the cuisine, the place, the tourism spots, the foods like lumpia, we have lumpia in Indonesia as well. Like we are really similar, we are really brother, and yeah, let's stay united as a fellow ASEAN country. So I guess that's it for my reaction. Thank you so much for requesting. This has been a great reaction. If you want me to react something more like this, you can just remember, use the drill, and just comment down below. Give me straight the links out so I really know the exact video that you want me to react next. So until we meet next time, maraming salamat, ingat, and yeah, be always be happy, always be inspiring to other people through your action every day. So bye.